Hey amigos, ¿cómo están ustedes? Gracias por estar aquí presente nuevamente en el canal. Tenemos en este momento una actualización sobre lo que está pasando en California y la presión que está recibiendo la alcaldesa Karen Bass porque aparentemente va a renunciar, señores. El senador de California, el corrupto de la izquierda radical Adam Schiff, mintió al aire y dice que los embalses estaban llenos cuando comenzaron los incendios. Es totalmente incapaz de decir la verdad este senador. Se confirmó que el embalse de Palisades y el de Santa Inés estaban completamente vacíos, lo que dejó a los hidrantes con poca o ninguna presión de agua durante el mes más ventoso del año. Bueno, el senador dijo en el medio de comunicación que eso era mentira, que si los embalses tenían agua suficiente, que estaba a desbordar de agua para utilizarlo en estos incendios. Mira esto.
Your understanding, why did some of those, or so many of those fire hydrants simply run dry? Was there something to do with that 117 million gallon reservoir in the Palisades that was out of operation? What's your understanding? What's your initial read on this?
Well, my initial take, and I certainly want a full review of this so that I can form a more complete understanding of the matter. But my initial understanding is the reservoirs that the Palisades were drawing on, these 3 million gallon reservoirs, were full at the initiation of these fires. But they're intended, frankly, they have the capacity to put out homes that maybe house multiple houses, not if the whole town is up in flames, and most particularly not if the winds are so strong that aircraft can't fly. And this was the problem in the very beginning. The winds were hurricane force, up to 100 miles an hour winds. You can't fly in that, and you depend on being able to do water drops to put down those kind of flames. And I have to think there are probably hundreds of towns in California, thousands and thousands across the country that are in equally the same position, that if they had 100-mile-an-hour winds and a lot of dry fuel, they wouldn't have any more water than this community did. We also...
Sí, amigos, el embalse de Pacific Palisades estaba vacío y fuera de servicio cuando explotó la tormenta de fuego, según la revista Times. Esto es criminal. El depósito tiene capacidad para 117 millones de galones de agua y habría proporcionado a los bomberos suficiente presión para combatir el incendio de manera efectiva y eficaz. Los funcionarios del Departamento de Agua y Energía que reciben salarios excesivos ahora se han visto obligados a admitir que el hecho de que el embalse estuviera fuera de línea probablemente contribuyó a que los hidrantes se secaran y la presión de agua fuera totalmente baja. Aquí, señores, podemos ver estas comunidades que han sido destrozadas. Esto es una imagen, un video aéreo, como pueden ver allí, grabado por un dron. Cero, señores. Todo quedó absolutamente quemado. Este embalse lo drenaron en febrero del año pasado y el gobernador no sabía nada, imagínate. Los funcionarios de Los Ángeles acaban de anunciar que se espera que el presidente Donald Trump visite pronto las áreas afectadas por los incendios forestales. En 3 meses como presidente electo, incluso antes de ser investido, Donald Trump ha hecho más que Biden y Kamala Harris en toda su vida. Escuchen esto, señores.
Any other questions? Okay.
And I apologize. Tom Manson with CBS News. What, if any, concern is there about animosity from the incoming Trump administration toward California and its efforts to fight this fire? And that's Mayor Bass, that's directly to you.
La pregunta es para la alcaldesa. ¿Cómo va a reaccionar el presidente Donald Trump a estos incendios durante su administración?
Actually, I'm not worried about that. I mean,
actualmente no estoy preocupada por eso.
I joined in the invitation to the incoming president to come to Los Angeles.
Más bien le doy una invitación al presidente Donald Trump para que venga a Los Ángeles.
I joined with the supervisor,
quien se unirá a la supervisora.
And the governor spoke directly.
Y con los gobernadores para hablar directamente.
With the incoming administration yesterday.
Con la próxima administración hablamos el día de ayer.
It was a fine call, so I'm not
y fue una llamada estupenda.
Concerned about that.
Y no estoy preocupada por eso.
There also, as I mentioned before,
Así que, como mencioné anteriormente,
a number of my former colleagues
el número de mis colegas
who were up for confirmation, and I feel
confirmaron
like I will have good relations there.
de que tenemos una buena relación con la próxima administración.
Is the incoming president expected to come here?
¿El presidente va a venir?
I believe so.
Yo creo que sí.
I mean, I certainly was a positive response yesterday.
Yeah, you know, I will say, knowing what I know, and I represent Altadena, which is probably the most diverse community that in the 5th District, this is the exact constituency that he was talking to. You've got socioeconomics from all walks of life, and they are suffering. So I'm confident that this president will come.
Well, and my conversation also yesterday was throwing around possible points of time.
Ella dice que tiene confianza que el presidente Donald Trump vendrá a las zonas afectadas. Ahora bien, un abogado pide la renuncia de la alcaldesa de Los Ángeles, Karen Bass, en una acalorada entrevista. Este abogado dice lo siguiente.
Thank you, Griff. And for more on the wildfires ripping through parts of Southern California, let's bring in criminal defense attorney and evacuee of the fire, Brian Claypool. Brian, I mentioned just a few minutes ago that the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, is about to step to the mic along with federal authorities for an update. But just about an hour or so ago, we did receive an update from county officials. Here's the sheriff. Take a listen.
Evacuation orders are approximately at 153,000 residents that are under the evacuation orders, and approximately 57,000 structures are still at risk. Regarding evacuation warnings, approximately 166,000 or a little over 166,000 residents are under evacuation warnings.
The bottom line right now, Brian, from the sheriff there is that the winds are picking up and they're only going to get worse over the next 24 to 48 hours. Your thoughts right now as we sit here?
Hey, Alicia, thanks for having me. Look, my feelings have gone from shock and trauma when at 5 a.m. early Wednesday morning, you know, I'm forced to run out of my house with my teenage daughter, a 9-month-old child, a nanny with one pair of clothes for 3 days, and running to a hotel. So I was shocked and traumatized. Then I went through a feeling of sadness, right? Looking at those images, having people reaching out to me. I've known several people have lost homes, churches burned down, you name it, right? People's lives are just, are destroyed forever trying to rebuild. Then my feelings moved to outrage. Why? Because I hope Karen Bass gets up when you cover her press conference and announces her resignation today. She should resign and explain to everybody as well about this alleged leak memo as well, in which she wanted to cut the fire department budget another $49 million within a week before the wildfires. That's been reported. I haven't verified it. Also, let's ask Karen Bass a question for me. Why she agreed to pay the new head of the LA Department of Water and Power, a woman named Janice Quinones, almost $400,000 more than the prior head of DWP. Explain that. Maybe she could have used some of that money to hire more firefighters. And if she had gotten her way with another $49 million cuts in the fire department, guess what? 16 fire departments would have been shut down. And what about the San Ynez Reservoir? Is anybody investigating Quinones and Karen Bass for allowing that reservoir to drain 117 million gallons of water? This isn't fiction. This isn't politics. This is human decency. She allowed that to happen on her watch. One more point I want to make. On Tuesday night, when I'm sitting in my home in Pasadena and I'm hearing about winds predicted of 80 to 100 miles an hour, Alicia, that's hurricane force. Where was her team sitting there with the electric grid across all of LA County trying to figure out where to potentially turn off electricity to make sure lines don't go down? Because I think you're going to find at the end of the day, lines went down causing these fires. How are you not there with your team? Who gives a heck about Ghana? What is her butt doing in Ghana? Who cares about an inauguration in Ghana? Get your butt in town and take care of your people. And now we're dealing with what you're talking about. In Pasadena, we have contaminated water. Contaminated. People can't even drink water, can't shower. What is she doing about that? What is she doing about looting that's happening within 600 feet of where I hope my home is still standing? What's she doing about that? Why didn't she have the National Guard in place before this went down? Lisa,
right.
Look, I'm not trying to play. This isn't about politics. This is about, we live in an ecosystem in Southern California where it's well known about fires. It's well known about mudslides and earthquakes. You know that that's what you get when you want to become the mayor of Los Angeles. And you want to play these silly games about wanting to build homes for the homeless in LA instead of taking that money and taking care of people in LA County who have worked their whole lives to get homes. Take care of those people. Forget about your socially comfortable policies. I mean, we are outraged. Look, at the end of the day, she should be facing a recall. That's how I feel about it.